What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming back to the channel. If you've already watched some of those first videos, if you haven't, and this is the first video you've watched, my name is Connor Steinbrook. I'm an entrepreneur at Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. If you go watch those first two videos I posted today, it's going to break down who I am. It's going to break down what this channel is about, overall entrepreneurship. It's going to talk about the businesses I built, what this wolf logo represents, some of the background of what I've been through as far as my business journey. And I'm also going to talk about the life-changing moment when you watch the video on Napoleon that led me to changing my life, going from living at home, broke, to building some of the biggest businesses in North America in my industry. Now, in this video here, I'm going to talk about the online mentors that changed my life forever. I didn't have any mentors in business above me that I knew in close proximity to me, meaning I didn't know anybody that I could go talk to that could help me, right? And so what I did was I found internet online mentors, I guess you could say, similar to what I want to do for you. I'm paying it forward for those that paid it forward to me because they were learning this information from someone before them, and vice versa. You will learn this information, trade it to someone in the future. So what I want to teach you guys is, in this video specifically, the power of online mentorship, and also to impress upon you, you do not need someone physically in close proximity, meaning in living in your geographical area, that you can actually meet with to be a mentor. My mentors that changed my life had already, most of them, passed away. I was coming across information that they had left in the past that I could take, consume, and apply in my present, and that helped me change my future. I want to do the same thing for you. That last video talks about Napoleon Hill. He wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. That book changed my life. That was literally the rock bottom moment where I hit the ground and bounced up and started an upward trajectory through a sequential order of events that I'm going to talk about as I go through this video. What I'm going to do right now is I'm not going to talk too much about Napoleon. Go check out that last video. I break it down in detail, who he is and what he's done and why he's changed my life. But I'm going to talk about in this video the other mentors that led me down the road in a sequential order of how I came across them, starting with the first one being the Dean of Personal Development, Mr. Earl Nightingale himself. Now, if you guys don't know who Earl Nightingale is, you have to go to the internet right now and type in Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. There's going to be a black and white recording pop up. You can watch it on YouTube. And this audio that he put out exploded across the airwaves. So who is Earl Nightingale in the first place, right? He's the man that took the torch from Napoleon Hill and took Napoleon's message and brought it out into the influencer space. Now, you guys are like, influencer, right? Think about back in the day. They didn't really have social media like we do right now, right? We're on YouTube. Tonight, you guys are going to be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever else you guys are on. But they didn't have that back in the day. They didn't have computers. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have cell phones. I mean, they didn't even have like Zach Moore's cell phones, guys, like those big bricks, right? They didn't even have those suitcases that they could carry around a cell phone. They literally had like spin dial things, right? So the point is, information delivery was tough. They had to write letters, word of mouth, or the radio. And Earl Nightingale is the one that blew the radio up. He launched and took off. He had a career, I think, for like 30 plus years on the radio waves, on 1,000 plus channels or something like that, or stations across 12 countries or more. And he made a massive impact in the entrepreneurship space and the self-development and personal development space for so many entrepreneurs. He wrote his book called The Strangest Secret, but his famous black and white recording is what I want you to go find. And then he also wrote a famous book, I believe it was called Lead the Field. So Earl's big deal was giving you guys the ideas of why somebody could be born in this world next to someone else born to this world with almost everything equal that they were born to, but why some people throughout their life go on and have the great life, and some people throughout their life have no life. So if you want to have the great life and not a no life, go check out Earl Nightingale, read his books, watch his videos, watch his recordings, watch The Strangest Secret, because he is the first person I really started digging deep into, I guess you could say, after Napoleon Hill. Now, if you haven't seen the Napoleon Hill video that I put out first, go watch that after this one. And let's dig on to the next mentor I came across directly after Earl Nightingale. And this man changed my life in so many ways. And he's still changing my life today as I watch his videos and listen to his audio recordings every single week. This man's name is, and that man is Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N. If you want to Google him on the internet, his name is Jim Rohn. And you may not know who Jim Rohn is, but I bet you know who Tony Robbins is, right? Jim Rohn was Tony Robbins' mentor. So if it worked for Tony Robbins, it might work for you. Jim Rohn's my mentor. If it worked for me, it might work for you. So who's Jim Rohn really, and what did he do? Well, Jim Rohn has a great story, many, many stories if you guys look into him and start watching his recordings. But he tells one of how, he's in his mid-20s and he was struggling in life and he had a family, and a Girl Scout came by his house, tried to sell him cookies. And it was a low moment in his life where he realized he didn't even have the money to pay for Girl Scout cookies. And he had to shoo this little girl away off his porch. And it was a very tough time for him to realize that. But he was going nowhere in life. And the reason why he was going nowhere in life is because he didn't have a mentor. And then luckily for him, a man came into his life called Earl Schoaf, right? So you guys know the story. And what Earl did for him was impress upon him that he had no directions. He had no GPS in his life, meaning how do you know where you're going to get to go, or how do you know where you're going if you don't have directions, meaning you don't have goals? And so Earl asked Jim, can you show me your goals? And Jim said, what? And he says, if you can't show me a list of written goals, I can tell you your bank account. I can guess it. And it's zero, right? Now, because credit cards, it's less than zero. So if you don't have goals, written goals, I guarantee you right now, many of you guys are struggling financially. Once you set goals, you have a GPS that you can now move towards. So Jim Rohn was one of the first few people that really taught me the power of goal setting, the power of intentionality, the power of a great life philosophy that's outside the norm, which is let's just kind of be someone and float through life, right? Why not be all we can be? Why not work on personal development? Why not work on our speaking ability and our communication ability? Why not travel the world and interact with others and learn about their life philosophy and gain information, apply it in our lives and audit it after we try something? Did it work? How did it work? Did it work well or did it not? Can we adjust off this and grow off this, right? So Jim Rohn is one of the great philosophers of our time. And I want you guys to go watch anything and everything you can find from Jim Rohn because he changed my life. And I'll be watching probably the same videos you guys are watching this week if you're watching them on the internet, as I've been doing this now for almost a decade through repetition, consuming his information, reprogramming both my conscious and unconscious mind, right? Through the things I can think about and process consciously versus the things that I don't, that come into my unconscious mind that are there programmed all the time. So I need you to understand, Jim Rohn's the man. Go check him out. He's one of my favorite. Now let's talk about the next person that came after him that I think you guys just know passed away, unfortunately, and it's a very sad thing, but he will live on forever because he has a legacy on the internet. And this man's name is Bob Proctor. Now, Bob Proctor is one of the best, will always be one of the best. Unfortunately, Bob just passed away. Now, what's left here on earth for us to consume is his books, his articles, his videos, his recordings. So make sure to follow Bob Proctor on the internet, guys. He wrote a book called You Were Born Rich, and another one that was something like Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life, I believe it was called. And Bob has written many other books as well. So Bob Proctor is the person I came across in this sequential order process where I went from Napoleon first, then Earl, then Jim Rohn, and then I came across Bob Proctor and started following him. And he was the first person that ever put a visual, something on pen and paper that I could look at to understand how my mind and my body actually work together. So you guys have seen it. It's the circle with the line across it, two hemispheres or whatever they're called, and then the stick figure down beneath, right? That's what he represents, or he uses to represent the conscious, unconscious, and body connection, right? So you have a conscious mind, which is the mind that can choose. You have an unconscious mind that can't choose. And then you have an emotional body. And so he explains in his teachings, guys, how to understand habits, paradigms, what a paradigm is, how this is the reason why you're not having the results that you want in life. And he goes on and breaks this down in a way that you can easily understand who you are and what you are and why you're not having the results that you think you should be having and what you have to do to change these results for yourself by changing the way that you think. Now, Bob goes into a lot of different high-level trainings on many different things. A lot of you guys hear about the law of attraction. Bob coaches up and beyond this, right? He talks about the law of vibration. The law of vibration is a primary rule. The law of attraction is a secondary rule that benefits and bounces off of, I guess you could say, the law of vibration. He also goes into many different things that can help you guys as far as breaking bad habits, things like drug addiction, bad thinking processes, fear, doubt, worry, self-esteem issues, anxiety issues. And he really breaks down how our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings and our emotions create our attitude, and our attitude creates our environment around us, meaning who wants to be in our life, who wants to stay in our life, who wants to work with us, and do we have results? So I check out Mr. Bob Proctor, guys, read all his books, follow all his videos on the internet. They are free. Watch the same things I watch and see if you have the same result. It worked for me. It could work for you. Now let's go on to the next person that really helped me when I was at a low point, when I was about to give up. And I was just like many entrepreneurs, they get up against the wall, they start to get burnt out and they want to give up, but he helped me push through. And this man was one of the best motivational speakers of my life at that time. And he really resonated with me and I'll never forget it. If you can look up, you can get up. Who do you think it is? So it's got to be Les Brown, right? Now, if you guys don't know who Les Brown is, he is one of the top motivational speakers of our time. He changed my life in the way that I was struggling and I was about to quit. I was getting burnt out. I was having thoughts of doubt and worry. My self-esteem was dropping. And he was the one whose message resonated with me over and over and over to keep going. He taught me about persistency. And his story let me realize that it doesn't matter your intelligence. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter where you come in life. All that matters is your resiliency, your persistency, and your consistency, and you're willing to do better and learn and grow. So the thing about Les Brown was he grew up in a very tough life. He was adopted, and he had a twin, and he was named the dumb twin. And as you can imagine, if your peers and your teachers name you the dumb twin, how does that reflect on your self-esteem? So he grew up in a very tough way. And as you can understand, if everybody's telling you you're dumb, very difficult to overcome that. And what I want you guys to understand is intelligence doesn't really have much to do with business. Work ethic and consistency and your strength to stand up after you get knocked down does, right? So if you can look up, you can get up, is what he would always say. So when I was struggling, learning and applying things I learned from other mentors, he was the one that helped me through when things got tough. Now, just a quick story about him. He grew up and he was struggling and he didn't see a future for himself. And the big change for him as well was a mentor came into his life, Mr. Washington, right? One of his teachers, or one of the teachers at school that took him under his wing. He started learning from this individual. He mentored him. He built his belief in himself up. And guess what happened? He went on to become very successful. Just one of his stories about persistency is how he became a radio host and became one of the biggest ones on the radio. And so he went down to a radio station to try to get a job because he saw that as his path to getting on the airways. And he was basically laughed out, right? So imagine you go down to like your favorite radio station tomorrow and say, I want to work here. They laughed him out. He came back the next day. Same thing. They laughed him out. He came back again and again and again until the guy said, go get me a coffee. And he started working for them, right? So persistency wins in business. I don't care if you get a no, you keep going. A no is what people say before they say yes. Now, obviously, guys, if you're harassing people, don't take it that extreme. But if it's just like business purpose, right? Keep going. Don't take a no and just stop. Push through. Many things that I've done in business have come after 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 no's, if you can believe that or not, right? So he broke his way into the radio station and got a job. And what happened was, he'd been practicing behind the scenes. Practice makes perfect. You guys better be practicing right now for when your opportunity shows up. You crush it, you seize the moment, and you take advantage of it. Because what happened was the guy on the radio that was the main host at the time, I forget the story. He got like obliterated drunk for some reason and passed out. And there's nobody at the station except Mr. Les Brown. And he had an opportunity to seize the moment. And he did. He got on the airways and he crushed it. And the rest was history. But the story is about persistency. And he has many other great stories you can learn from. Go check him out, guys. Les Brown, if you're low or you're feeling not good about yourself right now, he's a motivational speaker that will put motivation in you and help you get to the next level. So go check out Les Brown. Now, I want to talk about leadership here real quick, because one of the men that I learned about leadership from that helped me build my skill sets to get to the point where I am today to run a large organization, an international organization, and run these other businesses is John Maxwell. Now, John Maxwell, guys, if you don't know who this is, he's probably the nation's leading authority on leadership. And I don't even know. I mean, it could be anywhere from 30, 40, 50 books. He's written that many books. Some of the best books on leadership I've ever read were by John Maxwell. Now, I believe that he's a #1 New York's best time seller, and he's done something like sell like 24+ million dollar copies is what I looked at one time of books on the internet. And so if you're looking for leadership skill sets, and even if you don't see yourself as a leader today, you might be one tomorrow, right? You develop yourself into a leader. You create yourself. You're not one today, but you can be one tomorrow. Not everybody's a natural leader. Most people become a leader through understanding how to correctly work with people of all different types. You need to understand how to gear shift, meaning I can't treat one person like I do another because this person's not the same as the other, right? If someone is younger versus older, someone's got a temperament where they get angry quickly versus one that doesn't. Someone that has a large emotional spectrum versus one that doesn't. Somebody's coming from a different background and one from another. These are all different people with different experiences. We all have different mindsets and different ways we look at the world. And if you have one way of coaching or one way of leading everyone, you're not going to get very far. And so what John Maxwell helped me understand is shifting gears, how to gear shift, how to be the right leader for the right person, organization. And a lot of the things that I do to run this big organization here with our Wolfpack, I've been taught directly from studying John Maxwell and the books he has and looking at the audio recordings that he has all over the internet. So if you're looking for leadership coaching, this is the person that I gained the most from, at least as a modern day thought leader. So go check out John Maxwell. We just got a couple more I want to go over here. Let's dig into the person that really helped me understand efficiencies, time management, time blocking, goal setting, and how to get the most out of my day. This man wrote a book about eating a frog, not really going to eat it, right? Just representing that you want to take down your biggest task first. So who wrote that book? Eat That Frog. This is the man that did it. His name is Brian Tracy, right? Brian Tracy is one of the best of all times, guys. He wrote a book called Eat That Frog. And essentially the principle of it is why people don't accomplish a lot throughout the day. He's an efficiency expert, right? He's traveled the world. He speaks a million languages. He knows pretty much anybody and everybody. And he teaches people about how to get the most out of a day through time management, goal setting, time blocking. And one of the things he talks a lot about in that book, Eat That Frog, is why people do not accomplish a lot. They have a to-do list. It could have 10 things on that list to do. And the one that they never do is that frog, the biggest, nastiest task that they have on their list. It's the thing that you should do first. You should eat that frog first, is essentially the principle of the book, right? What most people do is they have this to-do list. They go to the bottom of the to-do list and start knocking off the most easily able to be done tasks, right? Do a quick email, make a quick phone call, go pick up food, go to the store, do the small things that never move the needle forward. And what most people do is they have this to-do list, right? And they do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they never get to the biggest tasks up top. And then what happens is the next day happens and they do it again. They just keep doing the bottom of the list, but these things do not move the business forward like those big tasks do. So what he's talking about is when you're full of energy, when you're ready to go for the day and you're firing at the highest level, right? Take on the biggest tasks first. Do the biggest things that you have facing you as problems in your business and get those off the plate, right? So he goes into goal setting and time management and really big on efficiencies, guys. So if you guys are floating through the day, feeling all lost, out of control, and you're not accomplishing a lot through the day, that's how I was until I met Brian Tracy. And I went through his YouTube channel, I read his books, and I followed him for years. And he really helped me understand how to start, control, and exit a day correctly, and anything and everything in between. Now, I want to talk about someone that helped me with sales, my mindset, my belief system, and my motivation. He's actually local, or he was local. Unfortunately, he passed away as well, but he is a local Dallas boy. And I want to talk about Zig Ziglar. What a freaking awesome name when you think about it, right? Double Z. Who has a name like Zig Ziglar, right? Not many people, right? But what did I learn from Zig? Well, when I was struggling getting my business off the ground, I was going a million miles an hour in different directions. I was trying to be like one of those dogs trying to catch like 15 cars at one time, right? I was playing in the insurance space. I was playing in the real estate space. I was playing in any game I could find that I could make even $1 from, or feel like I had a potential to move into that industry and make $1 in the future. And he was the first person that really impressed upon me that sales is not a dirty word. It's actually a great word. And it's one that actually results in great lifestyles for many others. And at that moment, I kept thinking that I had to build a business, and I kept thinking that I had to make my money, originally my first bit of money, I guess you could say, by building a successful business or working a job. And I really didn't even ever think about sales as something that could build a massive income based off my massive work ethic, right? So he was the first person that related the power of sales and creating a massive income. So if you guys are thinking about this right now and what you want to do in life, real estate sales, insurance sales, sales of anything, this is an industry or business model that allows you to go in and work to the level of what you want to work to, because a job limits you based off the employment side. Sales, no one's going to tell you how little or how many hours you can work a week. Nobody's going to tell you how little or how powerful your education can be, right? No one's going to tell you how little or how many skill sets you can build. And so the thing about sales is the more valuable you come to the marketplace, the more valuable you are as far as how many people you want to work or who want to work with you, right? Or buy something from you. And so he taught me how to be a great salesperson, and his book, See You at the Top, is a great one, guys. And I'm going to leave you here. I'll see you guys at the top once you go through all these same mentors that I did to get my education, to get me to where I'm at right now. So I'll leave it at that. I'll see you guys at the top, or I'll just see you at the next video. And if you could hook me up by subscribing to this one. I'll see you guys. Have a good day.